My phone rang loudly and woke me from deep sleep at 2:17 a.m. My security app showed a red warning. Someone was at the greenhouse. My heart raced. I grabbed my keys and pulled on yesterday's jeans, still dirty with soil. The drive to my land took 11 long minutes. My headlights lit the gate first and my stomach sank. The padlock was broken. I parked quickly, leaving the lights on to shine through the dark. My hand shook as I pushed the gate open. Broken glass cracked under my boots like ice. The sound echoed inside me. With every step, I saw more damage. "No, no, no," I whispered. Inside, I lost my breath. Thousands of plants were ruined. Hanging. Baskets were smashed. Orchids were cut in half. Rare succulents were crushed under boot prints. Hartwell Properties' order, $22,000 of plants, was gone. I stumbled to the small office and prayed the cameras had caught something. The screen flickered on. With shaking hands, I rewound the video. Then I saw him. Tyler. My brother. His face was clear as he looked straight into the camera, raising garden shears from my shed. The hate in his eyes burned through the screen as he destroyed everything I had built. My knees gave way, and I fell to the floor among broken pots and scattered soil. The video showed 2 hours of him carefully smashing everything, sometimes glancing at the camera, making sure I would know it was him. Only 1 week ago, we were at my parents' table. Mom passed the potatoes. Dad cleared his throat in that way that meant something hard was coming. "Isla, honey," Mom said softly. "Tyler doesn't have a job again. We think your greenhouse is perfect for him. You're doing so well." Put my fork down. "I can't hire anyone right now, Mom. And Tyler doesn't know anything about plants." Dad gave a cold laugh. "He just needs a chance. How hard can it be to water flowers?" I wanted to explain about soil pH, temperature control, and careful feeding, but I stayed quiet. "Family must take care of each other," Mom said, holding my hand. Her soft hands had never done hard work. "I'm sorry," I said firmly. "It's not personal, but I need workers with experience. The Hartwell contract is too important." Tyler smiled tightly. "No worries, sis. I get it." But he didn't. The next morning, his angry texts began. "You think you're better than us? Must be nice having the favorite business. Family means nothing to you." After 3 days of worse messages, I blocked him. My parents called daily, disappointed. I ignored their calls as I worked 16-hour days for the Hartwell order, the biggest job of my career. Finally, last night, I finished. Before bed, I checked voicemail. It was Tyler. His voice was slurred from drinking. "You'll regret choosing your stupid plants over family, Isla. Just wait." Now, standing in the ruins of my greenhouse, I understood what he meant. I forced myself to stand. I took photos of every broken section. Then I called the police. "Yes, I want to report vandalism. I have security video of the person who did it," I said, with a shaking but steady voice. While waiting, I walked through the wreckage. I remembered, buying this land 4 years ago, the pride I felt after saving from 3 jobs since high school. The loan officer had smirked at first, but changed his face when I showed my detailed plan. On the screen, Tyler swung a hammer into terracotta pots. His movements were calm, not wild. This was not anger. It was cold hate. Inside me, something changed. The shock faded. A new strength came. I stood tall, wiped my hands on my jeans. "This ends today," I said to the empty greenhouse. My voice no longer shook. Sirens grew louder. The sky was starting to lighten. Dawn was near. I walked out to meet the police, ready to fight for what comes next. At the station, I filed reports for hours. By noon, I parked at my parents' house, the police folder on the seat beside me. The house looked smaller than it once did. I tightened, my grip on the wheel. I had practiced this talk for hours, but fear still caught my throat. The old doorbell chimed. Mom opened, wearing her Sunday cardigan even though it was Tuesday. Her smile faded. Isla, honey, we weren't expecting you. I need to talk to everyone, I said, steady though nervous. Tyler, too. She hesitated, then let me in. Dad sat in his chair, newspaper folded. Tyler sprawled on the couch, phone in hand. Both looked up as I entered. Neither of them stands. Up. Isla, Dad says with a nod. Why are you here without calling first? I put the folder on the coffee table. My greenhouse was vandalized last night. Someone destroyed everything. The Hartwell order, all of it. Mom gasps. Oh, my God. Did you call the police? I did. I look straight at Tyler. His face stays calm, almost bored. They have the security video, I say. Tyler sits up. I don't know what you're talking about. His fake confusion makes my stomach turn. I take out my phone and connect it to the TV. The screen shows Tyler looking straight into my camera. In the video, he lifts the garden shears toward the lens like a joke salute, then carefully cuts through a row of orchids. Mom covers her mouth. Dad sits frozen, his newspaper crinkling in his hands. On the screen, Tyler's face shifts between shock and anger while the video shows him destroying my business. Turn it off, Dad says at last. I pause the video but leave it on the screen. The police have all of this. They are filing charges for criminal damage and for breaking and entering. Silence fills the room until Mom speaks. Please, we can handle this in private. As a family. Dad clears his throat. Isla, I know you're upset. The greenhouse is insured, right? I'll pay the deductible. Just tell them it was a mistake. You don't want this on Tyler's record. I let out a short, dry laugh. You still don't understand. This isn't about money. Then what is it? Tyler says louder. Punishment? Revenge? Consequences, I say. Something you've never had. Mom steps between us. Please, Isla. We're family. Family? I say, testing the word. Was it family when you gave Tyler a key to my house without telling me? You said it was for emergencies. They share a look, and I know the truth. How long have you had that key? Dad shifts. Since you bought the place, but that's not. 4 years, I say. The betrayal tastes bitter. 4 years you had access to my home, and I didn't know. Tyler stands. You're overreacting. It's just a key. Like it's just plants, I say. Just business? Michael called this morning. He said you've been telling people I owe you part of the greenhouse, that it was meant to be a family business. Well, it should have been, Tyler says, stepping closer. Dad helped with your loan application. Mom helped with your business name. And when I needed one thing, you shut me out. I look at my hands. Soil. Still under my nails even after scrubbing this morning. Mom's hands rest on Dad's chair. Her manicure perfect, no calluses. I suddenly see the difference. These hands built something from nothing. Theirs only took. I'm not dropping the charges, I say quietly. Dad pulls out his checkbook. Name your price, Isla, whatever it costs, plus extra for your trouble. I glance at the mantle photos. Tyler's graduation, Tyler's first car with a ribbon, Tyler's college acceptance. In the corner, a small frame shows my business license. Photo, an afterthought. Some things can't be fixed with money, Dad. My phone vibrates. A text from Lisa, my assistant. I saw Tyler arguing with you last week. I can give a statement. Earlier, Michael called. I saw how he talked to you at the nursery supply. That wasn't normal. I'll be a witness. Even Mr. Grayson from the bank had messaged. Your business plan was solid from day one, Ms. Flores. We stand behind you. The Hartwell project manager wrote, "Take the time you need. We hired you for your integrity. All these people were there while I worked 16-hour days building something real." Where was my family then? I remember planting the first saplings alone while they vacationed with Tyler in Florida. You don't understand what you're doing, Dad warns. This will change everything. Good, I say, putting my phone away. Everything needed to change. Tyler's face twisted, and his calm mask dropped. You always thought you were better than me, didn't you? Better than all of us with your precious plants and your self-made business act. Tyler, don't, Mom said, reaching for him. He pushed her hand away. You know what? I'm glad I did it, he shouted, spit flying. You needed to be knocked down, always acting so high and mighty, looking down on me because I don't want to work myself to death for minimum wage. Stop it right now, Dad said, standing. But it was too late. What were you going to do, Isla? Call the cops? Oh, wait, you already did. Tyler laughed bitterly. You always have to do the right thing, don't you? Mom turned to why, me, desperate. He didn't mean it. He's just upset. Even with his confession hanging in the air, they protected him. I stood straighter. I never thought I was better than you, Tyler. I just worked harder. I picked up my folder and my phone. On the table sat a Christmas photo of us in matching sweaters, smiling. I turned it face down and walked out. Behind me, I heard Mom crying. Dad called my name once, then went silent. The front door closed softly behind me, but to me it sounded like freedom. The first time I grew something, I was 14. A teacher gave us lima beans in wet paper towels. Mine sprouted first. While other kids forgot theirs, I carried mine home and checked it every hour. When the first leaf opened, something opened inside me too. At 16, I sold herbs from a small table in our driveway. I made $20 that weekend. I kept the money in a coffee can labeled greenhouse fund, while other kids spent at the mall. You're really going to save for 10 years? Dad laughed when I showed him zoning rules for farmland. That's not realistic, Isla. In the kitchen, Mom patted my shoulder. It's a nice hobby, sweetie. The next day, Tyler drove home in his graduation gift, a shiny red Mustang that cost more than my entire savings. I watched from my window as Dad handed him the keys, both of them smiling. That night, I got a second job stocking shelves at the hardware store. For 3 years, I worked mornings at a coffee shop, afternoons at the hardware store, weekends at a garden center. I slept 4 hours a night and took online business classes at lunch. When coffee shop customers complained about soil under my nails, I smiled and said sorry. Every tip went into the coffee can. When I was 22, I walked into a bank wearing my only blazer and carrying a taped-up binder. The loan officer, with his fancy cufflinks and Harvard diploma, barely looked at me. So you want to grow plants? He asked, flipping my plan without reading. I want to build a greenhouse for rare plants and drought-resistant ones for big landscaping projects, I said, steady after months of practice. He raised his eyebrows. Show me your numbers. 3 hours later, he approved half the loan I asked for. It's the best I can do for someone with no history. Take it or leave it. I took it, knowing I'd build the greenhouse myself. The Mia. Land I bought was 10 miles outside town. 27 acres of rough field, bad drainage, but good sun. The old owner failed to build houses there, so I got it cheap. That first year broke me down and built me back up. Each morning before my coffee shift, I cleared rocks and stumps. Each night after the hardware store, I dug trenches with my truck headlights. Most nights I slept in the truck, too tired to drive home, wrapped in a tarp. Rain soaked me. Sun burned me. Mosquitoes covered me. Tyler came once, pulling up in his Mustang while I was laying pipes. "This is what you're killing yourself for?" he asked, pointing at the mud and half-built wall. "Looks like nothing." "It's not nothing to me," I said, wiping sweat away. "Whatever," he shrugged. "Mom wants you at dinner Sunday. Dad's golf buddy is bringing his son. She thinks you'd like him." "I can't," I said. "I'm pouring the concrete foundation." He rolled his eyes. "You know they worry about you, right? This isn't normal." I turned back to my work. He drove off, leaving tire marks in my new driveway. The greenhouse took shape in autumn. One day, a landscaper named Michael stopped when I was struggling with roof beams. "Want a hand?" he asked, already rolling up his sleeves. We worked until midnight securing the panels against the wind. Later, drinking coffee on buckets, he said, "Most people hire contractors. Most people have more money than determination," I said, holding up my blistered hands. That winter, I slept inside the greenhouse on a cot, afraid storms would break it. When pipes burst, I spent 3 days fixing them. When wholesalers refused credit, I drove 6 hours each way to buy seedlings, filling my truck. When I got my first big job, $8,000 to landscape a hotel, I called my parents. "That's wonderful, honey," Mom said, distracted. "Tyler just got a promotion. We're taking him to Whistler. I'd invite you, but I know you're busy." I hung up alone in my office, a shipping container with a metal desk and papers pinned to plywood walls. Outside, thousands of plants thrived. When Hartwell signed a $22,000 contract, I worked day and night to prepare. Every plant was labeled, and perfect. At midnight on the last day, I celebrated with 1 cup of coffee on my truck tailgate, watching moonlight shine on the rows. For the first time, I felt successful. Then came 2:17 a.m. and the alert that shattered everything. The morning, after Tyler destroyed my greenhouse, I stood in the wreckage making lists. At 9, the insurance adjuster came, expecting tears. Instead, I gave him full records, photos, dates, costs. "Most people don't keep details like this," he said, surprised. "I'm not most people," I answered. When I got back from my parents' house, 3 cars were in my driveway. The coffee shop owner where I once worked, a regular customer from my first sale, and Michael, holding 2 coffees and a pair of work gloves. "We saw what happened on the community page," the coffee shop owner said. "Thought you could use some help." They stayed until sunset, clearing debris and saving what plants they could. Michael worked beside me in silence, moving at my pace. As we finished, my phone rang. It was the Hartwell project manager. "I heard about what happened," she said. "We can change the timeline if you need." I looked at the wreckage, at the small pile of saved plants. "I appreciate that. We chose your company because of your quality and strength. That hasn't changed," she said. 6 weeks later, I went to court. I wore clean work clothes, still stained from soil. The courtroom smelled of polish and worry. Tyler sat with our parents, all 3 dressed like for church. I told the truth without adding anything. The video showed Tyler's face clearly as he destroyed years of my work. The judge watched silently. When Tyler spoke, he claimed stress, misunderstandings, and remorse, but his eyes showed no truth. Our parents sat right behind him, not in the middle row. The judge decided quickly. Tyler must pay full damages, serve 200 hours of community service, and have no contact with me. His face turned hard as the words were read. I walked out alone into bright sunlight. The greenhouse waited, already half, rebuilt. Unlike the family behind me, it was built on foundations I could trust. 2 days later, heavy boots crunched the gravel at 7 a.m. The security team had arrived. I was already on my second coffee, awake since 4, studying blueprints for the new greenhouse. "We'll start with 8 cameras," I told the lead technician, pointing at the marked diagram. "Every entrance, the parking area, and especially the new greenhouse foundation. He nodded at my preparation. Most people just say, make it safe, not you. I managed a small smile. I'm not leaving anything to chance again. The insurance check had come yesterday, $18,000. Not enough for everything, but enough to start. I'd been sleeping on a cot in my small office, guarding the remains and planning the rebuild. Every penny was already listed in my spreadsheet. Security first, then repairs, then plants ranked by profit. The doorbell rang as the technicians worked. A woman stood there with a gift basket and an envelope. Isla Flores? I'm Catherine Daniels. We haven't met, but the Chamber of Commerce wanted to show support. Through the broken glass walls, she gestured at the ruins. We want you to know the business community stands with you. I accepted the envelope with soil-stained hands. Inside was an invitation to join, first year free, and 3 new client contacts. Thank you, I said, though it felt too small. Your strength has impressed many, Catherine said. Not many would rebuild so quickly. By noon, I was transplanting seedlings according to my recovery plan. My phone buzzed. Mom again. The 4th call today. I silenced it and kept working. 10 minutes later, the technician called. Miss Flores, your parents are at the gate asking to come in. My grip tightened around a small pot. Please tell them I'm busy with critical work. I cannot be interrupted. 20 minutes later, I heard Mom's voice inside. She must have followed a truck through the gate. Isla, honey, we need to heal our family. I didn't look up. This is private property. The business is closed. He's your brother, she said, crying. Family forgives family. I stood and wiped my hands on my jeans. I'll talk when Tyler finishes his punishment and service, not before. Dad stepped forward. We spoke to Pastor Williams. He'll mediate a family meeting. No, I said firmly. I've documented this visit. Please leave, or I'll call the officer. Their faces showed shock. They had never seen me like this. That evening, I saw Tyler's truck driving slowly past, breaking the no-contact order. I photographed it and sent it to my lawyer. Every violation made my case stronger. Later, I found 3 new 1-star reviews online. The style matched Mom's bridge club friends. I flagged them as harassment without reading further. The next morning, Michael arrived with coffee and bagels. What began as work talks had grown into something unnamed. The new greenhouse frame comes Tuesday, he said, checking his tablet. I confirmed with the company. I nodded, glad at how he remembered details without me asking. I'm hiring 2 assistants next week, I said. He looked surprised. You've never wanted employees before. I can't do this alone anymore, I admitted. The words felt new but true. And the Westridge corporate contract needs more than just me. The Westridge contract? When did that happen? This morning. They called after reading the Business Journal article. I hadn't asked for the story, but a reporter wrote about my case as one of resilience. Michael grinned. That contract is twice the size of Hartwell. I know. For the first time in weeks, I smiled for real. I'm making my first extra loan payment Friday. We walked the property, planning space for expansion. The old foundation was cleared, ready for something bigger and stronger. Through the fence, I noticed country club members watching with uneasy faces. News spread fast in town. Your mother called me yesterday, Michael said casually, testing a beam. I froze. What? She asked if I'd talk sense into you about dropping the charges. Michael said he was surprised when I told him I was making the right choice. The familiar pressure rose behind my eyes, but I blinked it away. They'll try everyone eventually, I said. Thank you for... I stopped. For what? He asked. For not needing an explanation. That evening, I got a text from An old seasonal employee asking if jobs were open. Then another, from a supplier offering credit to help me rebuild. I sat at my small desk, surrounded by signs of recovery. New security cameras, stronger ties with nearby businesses, the greenhouse frame scheduled for delivery, 2 new workers starting Monday, the Westridge contract signed. Tyler destroyed what I built, but he pushed me to build something stronger. I checked my planting schedule one last time and allowed myself 6 hours of sleep, the most since that night. Tomorrow would bring more rebuilding, more boundaries kept. For the first time since the attack, I slept without checking the cameras. First. After 6 weeks of silence, a text came from Mom as I finished inventory. Family dinner tonight, 7 p.m. Time to make peace. I read it 3 times, stomach tight. It felt like a trap. But avoiding them forever wasn't the answer. You don't have to go, Michael said when I called. But if you do, I'm coming with you. I decided to go, bringing all my evidence of Tyler's harassment. That evening, Michael's steady presence calmed me as we pulled into my parents' driveway. The house looked the same. Perfect lawn, polished knocker, neat autumn wreath. Mom opened the door before we knocked. Her smile was too bright. "Isla, sweetheart," she said, hugging me stiffly. Her old perfume clung to my nose. "And you must be Michael. So nice to finally meet you." The dining room glowed with candles. Mom's best china and crystal glasses were on the table. Dad stood by his chair, forcing a smile. "Good to see you, Princess," he said, using my childhood, nickname for the first time in 10 years. Something felt wrong. The table was set for 5. Then I heard footsteps. Tyler walked in from the kitchen holding a casserole, his face arranged in fake humility. My body tensed. The restraining order said he had to stay 500 feet away. "What is this?" I asked, my voice calm but sharp. "Now, Isla." Mom cut in quickly. We thought it was time to talk like adults. Michael's hand rested on my back, steadying me. Dad's jaw tightened at the sight. "Tyler isn't supposed to be near me." I said quietly. "That's not my rule. It's the court's." "That's what we need to discuss," Dad said, pointing to the chairs. "Sit, please. Your mother made pot roast." The arrogance was shocking. I stayed standing. "We're family," Mom said, her tone soft and manipulative, like always. "What will the neighbors think? The Flores family fighting in court. Your grandfather would be heartbroken." Dad nodded. "We've talked with Tyler. He's ready to apologize." Right on cue, Tyler stepped forward. "Isla, I'm truly sorry. I was in a bad place, but I've been taking anger management classes. I've changed." His words were too smooth, too practiced. I'd heard the same lines all my life. After he broke my project, after he crashed my car, after every mistake, our parents erased. "What do you expect from me tonight?" I asked, looking at all 3 of them. Mom reached for the bread. "Well, we thought once Tyler apologizes, you could reconsider pressing charges. Your father can cover the costs." "The insurance already paid," I said. "It's the criminal record that's hurting him," Dad explained. "He's lost 3 jobs because of it." I opened my bag and took out a folder. "This is a record of Tyler driving by my greenhouse 4 times last week," I said, placing a page on the table. "This is from yesterday, when he parked outside my house for 27 minutes. I laid down another page. And these are the messages he sent from different numbers after I blocked his main one. Their faces said it all. They knew. True change means respecting the court's rules," I continued. "It means Tyler getting a job and paying restitution himself, not with Dad's money. It means real change, not just words." Mom's hand touched her throat. "Isla, family is above all." "No," I said firmly. "Respect is above all. Consequences matter." Always acting better than us, Tyler snapped, his fake apology slipping away. You think your plants make you better than everyone? Dad stood, reaching for his wallet. I'll write a check right now. Whatever you want. Let's put this behind us. This isn't about money, I said. It never was. Mom looked truly confused. For them, money and appearances had always been the solution. I stood taller. When you're ready to respect my boundaries, both legal and personal, I'll be here. But real peace needs changed behavior, not just words. Tyler's face twisted with rage. You self-righteous bitch. You've always thought you were too good for this family. Tyler, Mom gasped, but still moved toward him instead of me, protecting him as always. You see, Dad shouted. This is what your stubbornness causes. If you just forgave, like you taught him to do, I asked quietly. When has Tyler ever truly faced consequences? The truth hit them hard. Mom's face crumpled. Dad looked lost, without his checkbook solution. I turned to leave. Michael walked beside me, steady as ever. The shouting followed us to the door. Outside, the night was calm. Stars appeared. I took a deep breath, lighter with every step toward the car. Are you okay? Michael asked as we drove away. I looked back at my childhood home, small in the mirror. Yes, I said, surprised to realize it was true. I really am. Morning sunlight streamed through the new skylights in my rebuilt greenhouse. 1 year had changed this place from wreckage to abundance. Orchids, succulents, and ferns filled the space with life. Miss Flores? Elaine, my new employee, stood at the door with a clipboard. The Martin account paperwork is ready for your signature. I glanced at my watch. 7:30 a.m. The day already busy. Thanks. I'll review it before the meeting, I said, adjusting irrigation lines for herbs headed to a restaurant. In my office, I paused at the framed business plan on the wall. The paper was yellowed, but my handwriting still clear. Yesterday, the same loan officer who once doubted me emailed congratulations. 70% of my loan repaid early, refinanced at a great rate. My phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Dinner tonight. To celebrate? I've got something special planned. Warmth spread in my chest. Not from the sun, but from the kind of partnership I had never expected. Therapy had taught me the difference between family ties and family bonds. One is automatic. The other is earned. Last month I spoke about Tyler in therapy without shaking. Not forgiveness exactly, but freedom from the anger that once tried to take root in me. The doorbell chimed. Through the glass, I saw Mom's silver car. She held a small plant in a pot. We now kept contact carefully, with respectful distance. Dad still hadn't visited, waiting for an apology I would never give. Tyler had finished his community service without true change. He even lied on job applications, claiming greenhouse experience. But this town knew the truth. Good morning. I called to my team as they arrived, faces bright with purpose. These people had chosen to be here. Together, we built something real. After work, I walked the property, security cameras in place, flower beds bursting with color. The client whose order Tyler ruined now placed triple orders, impressed by how we recovered. Michael arrived as the lights softened, nervous. Beneath an arbor of climbing roses, he knelt and held out a ring. Later, we celebrated with my employees and friends, the family I chose. Laughter echoed through the greenhouse as we raised glasses. Above the entrance, a new sign read, Flores, Family Greenhouse. The name stayed the same, but the meaning had changed. Family is not just the one you're born into. Family is what you build. And what I've built will keep growing, season after season, rooted in strength, not obligation.